I don't know what to say anymore.
Ryan, we weren't that bad when we ran it.
Debate night. Welcome everybody. Yeah, we got Tracy joining us, Ryan O'Callahan, Tim, Ty. Yeah, we're just gonna go through a bunch of topics tonight, probably about hour and 15 minutes, and see what kind of trouble we can get into with all the emails and comments after the show.
Any bets if we can keep this to 60 minutes or?
Well, we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah. No, well, it depends if Ryan's. I don't know what's going on with Ryan there, but
We got a
He's
good
all
view
over
of his
this.
chin anyway.
it's double chin. Yeah, it looks great. Yeah.
It's all over.
Just do not go any lower. We're good.
And we lost them. And hopefully,
So it's actually just the four of us. Ryan hacked our system. We got him kicked out.
I don't know, what would the over and under bet be on like 15 minutes plus or minus?
We can definitely hit the. It's not a problem.
You think so?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah,
I'll just hit leave studio right at the 60-minute mark.
I think that's a end broadcast there.
See you later.
Yeah, there we go.
As we wait for Ryan, maybe we'll discuss how's fantasy baseball going for everybody.
Swallowed a canary.
Yeah.
Tim and I tied.
We tied. Yeah.
Really, a tie.
It's very congenial. I handed him a lot of points.
Yeah. I don't know what happened. Honestly, I think it was my pitching was bad.
I forgot to look at the app for like the last 3 days of the week. So
You're helping me out
that's
here.
where my lead went.
Ryan, we're talking fantasy baseball.
What? Who plays that?
We're waiting for you, and we're just wondering how last week went for you.
It went great. Tracy beat my ass like a rented mule.
What was was mollywopped was the term?
Mollywopped, yes. I was mollywopped. I think it was only the second time I've lost all season. So
You're
I
still
couldn't
in
lose
first
to a
place,
nicer person. Yes.
and I'm like creeping up there. 3 games behind you.
I think I'm playing Tim this week though, so that's an easy 8 for me. So
Oh dear.
You know what? I started right at the bottom, and now I'm in a playoff position, and so me sweeping Hendo that 1 week really helped us. Really helped my cause.
I'm like gonna throw a protest out here because me and Ty just learned that we just thought we didn't need to be last, and then now we're told that we could still lose in playoffs, which is really not up our alley.
You can go back to the podcast when we did the draft. It was all right there.
These rules feel very blurred. I kind of just make them up as we go.
I really don't think Ty's going to have an issue. It's going to be Carrie. Well,
Carrie's been in a fantasy baseball league with us the last 3 years, and it's the exact same in that league. So I don't know why you would think it's any different.
Yeah,
they do a consolation.
Sorry, I make playoffs every year in the other league, so I didn't understand that the bottom people didn't make playoffs, but apparently they do. So now I'm a little worried.
Well, I believe you're in last this year in that league, so you'll get to learn twice probably.
I'm taking the Jeff Young approach, and I'm going for draft picks because it's a keeper league. So, but this league I didn't understand. I just
Jeff
ignorance.
He played well. I'm surprised. Yeah. Poor Jeffy. Yeah, no. It's Carrie can lose, and I mean, I haven't really looked at the whole leaderboard yet, but I know Katie's near the bottom. I know DB's there too, right? So
Katie currently is in last place, and then DB's right ahead of her by 1 point, and then me and Johnny are clear by 6.5, I think.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's just one bad week though, and you're right in the basement.
Oh no!
It's a lot of negative energy, Ryan. I'm going to need you to stop.
So Ryan and Tracy are leading, obviously. Ryan's leading. Tracy's right behind him. And Tim is just floating in the middle ground, and so is Ty. So
yeah, hey, as long as we're above top 6, I really don't care at this point. And I for those people who are on the bottom, who would you rather like lose to? Would you rather lose to Tracy or to Ryan?
I'd rather not lose.
I've lost to both
Honestly.
of them, so I can't really have a preference.
I mean lose when they get to pick the punishment.
I feel like at this moment, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, that Tracy might be a little more lenient than Ryan would be.
Imagine you lose 12th and then you lose in the playoffs, and then Ryan wins both.
Double
I- I would rather have, instead of two punishments, one big punishment. I think that would be the best one.
I might not be smart, but I can be very creative. So
And I mean, if you think about it, Autumn Open, it should be finished by Autumn Open.
yeah, that's
So
usually
you
when
can-
you pay me my money. Yeah.
Yeah, so we can do Autumn Open, or we can do TPC, whatever you guys want there. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, depending on how the next few weeks goes, will determine how many cash tournaments I bowl next year. Then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's dropped right off the scene because of a bad baseball league.
I'm not sure if
yeah.
everybody's seen the post, but it's the 50th anniversary of the Autumn Open. I'm pretty sure you don't want to skip that one.
No,
True.
That one's going to be a big one.
Yeah.
I think registration opens for that on August 1st.
August 1st, yeah. Next Tuesday.
I'm guessing it'll be pretty.
Foam.
Well, the way the last few years have been, the entries will probably be flying in that day.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
It's good to see
Just
that.
Oh yeah, just driving home from Winnipeg last year from the Manitoba Open, the Regina Open. By the time I got home, I barely got on shifts because it was already full. It's only 7.5 hour drive.
Good problem to have.
Yeah.
It is for the game, yes.
Not for the individual so much, especially the
No.
illiterate one, as we've learned. We should
Alrighty.
maybe this is up the WCBT's alley. Is there should be an app, because everybody knows how to use app, because we all got fantasy baseball on our phones. A way to sign up for these using an app.
Mm.
I'm sure we know a guy, maybe a JB or somebody like that can.
Somebody that
I'll
knows
post it
computer
up.
programming.
Yeah, JB might be a good one.
Um,
It would make life so much simpler, and if it was a way for it to be all handled perfectly on all the tour stocks, and it'd be money.
I think that's kind of the goal, is to make it all a one-stop shop for the tour.
But it also would help if everybody who signed up actually showed up, and if they couldn't show up, they would tell you. Yeah,
Is this our first debate?
I'm down for that.
yeah. Nothing grinds my gears a little bit than when people just don't show up and don't tell you. Yeah.
Thank you. I finally have someone. I'm Team Lyle too. Thanks, Lyle.
Well, yeah. Lyle's a racist. We said that on our podcast. So if you want to be Team Carey, all the power to you.
You guys can go lay down on lanes 3 and 4 somewhere
Yeah.
over the foul line.
Over the foul line, yeah.
Yeah,
Probably do.
Ryan was there when we had perfectly good Lyle show up, and he just kind of ruined it all.
Yeah.
Hmm.
If anyone
Fair.
sent that podcast off the rails, it was poor Lyle.
Yeah, so actually, let's debate that before we hit into our wheel of topics. The signing up for a shift and then not showing up. How do you guys feel about that? What can we do to obstruct people, or not obstruct, but to deter them from causing the next morning? Like, let's say after Friday night Bakers, coming in Saturday morning and you're expecting a full shift, and it turns out 20 people don't show up because they decided to go off the rails on the Friday night.
And that's why I only play afternoon shifts.
I would prefer, like, it's so tough to do, but if you signed up for both Saturday shifts and you just didn't let them know on Saturday morning, you're back on the wait list, as far as I'm concerned. Like, I think that's totally fair, because you basically lost 2 spots, right? Yeah.
I mean, it takes 5 seconds to text. Like, you guys are all pretty wide open with, you could just send Tim a text. Hey, I can't make this shift, bud. Sorry. And no problem. Like, I've dropped out of stuff, but I've always had the courtesy to let them know in advance, not going to make this shift. Like, it's so simple.
I mean, I'm even okay. I'm even like if that's not the big one I'm really upset about. It's the ones like I'm upset about it, but I'm upset about the ones like who know physically they're not there. Like I mean, at Heritage, for example, there was BC people. I'm not going to name names that weren't going to even be there, and they didn't even let them know. Like you're not going to be there. You're not traveling. You don't have a plane ticket. You have nothing. Just let them know,
Mm.
right? and there was
Right.
and there and it was like not like 10 people. It was like 20 altogether, 25, right? And it was just it was just I don't know. It's not fair, right? It's just not fair because people are probably trying to sign up and they say, "Oh, it's full. I'm not going to travel anymore. I'm not going to make my chance over there
Right.
because all the shifts are taken." And then they probably could have gone, right? So that's my worry.
Yeah, I mean, there's a comment about deposits there, and it those kind of work as a deterrent to that, but deposits are there to safeguard the organizer committee, right? So if I have a couple of tattoos, and this is the perspective I take of it, is a tattoo artist has a deposit so that if you no-show them, they still make money, they make a wage. Are tournaments focused on making a wage? Do we have a deposit for them to not lose out on that entry money and kind of protect like the prize pool, or deposit the best strategy for being a deterrent to not showing or to like no showing a shift?
I think
yeah.
it could work both ways, right? If you say whatever it may be, like now the tournaments aren't all $200, so some of them are $240, some of them are $225, $220. If you make it like a $40 deposit to save your space, like if you're signing up for 2 shifts, you prepay the 1 shift and you put a deposit down on your second shift. And if you make it in the first shift, you just say, okay, I'm not playing the next shift. I would like my deposit back. But if you decide to sit on the line and wait till the last minute and you end up sitting, you lose your deposit. It protects the prize pool. It protects the entry system. I think it's a good route. Like what's really $40 in the grand scheme of things, but it keeps people a little more honest.
And
Well,
accountable, right? Like a little bit accountable, and it's no different. Like if you went to a massage and you have to, if you bailed before a certain period of time, let's just say it's 24 hours, then they take your deposit, or they take the whole thing, right? Whatever your massage is worth. It's sort of similar concept.
Yeah.
I mean, how many times Carrie, you've seen this? How many times has somebody shot 2,300 or 24 and not let the front desk know? I mean, realistically, it's the other way around. If you shoot 23 or 2,400, they should know that you're not going to be playing.
I still think the onus has to be on the player.
On the player, yeah.
But like I said, it's 5 seconds. Just tell them, hey, I'm good. I'm dropping out of all the other shifts. Thank you.
Yeah.
So simple.
It's a lot easier for a player who is aware of their own score to go up to a desk and say, hey, I'm not bowling the rest of my shifts, than it is for a tournament committee or one person to be paying attention to all of those people's scores and then have to be like, oh, that person shot a 2,400, but I also know they're signed up for 4 more shifts. I should take them off, right? Maybe that person only signed up for 1 shift and they're having to scroll and see, oh, did they actually have any more shifts? Whereas like, if I shoot 2,300, I know I'm not going to play again, and I probably have 2 more shifts in there. I can go up to Tim and say, hey, Tim, I don't need my other shifts.
I mean, at TPC doubles, I'm going through. I'm like, are you playing tomorrow morning? Are you not? Are you playing tomorrow?
Yeah.
Well, I'll let you know after today. I was like, no, like, no.
Well, it's a problem with the entries too, right? Like you yourself as a proprietor, like if you have 320 entries signed up for a tournament, you're ordering food and alcohol and stuff like that to the center, and then all of a sudden you only get 250 entries.
Totally.
Well, maybe you're stuck with all this inventory that you can't take back, right? Like it's
yeah.
and it sucks.
I mean, yeah, it's true. I think that's kind of a little bit different because I noticed last year we were down a lot in food and alcohol sales, and I just think it's just the sheer amount of people that are there now. They're not really double shifting as much on Saturday and Saturday or Friday and Friday because there's so many unique people that are there. There's so many shifts. You're not staying around as much, and I'm like totally understandable if I can get out for a dinner or for a lunch and not be at the bowling center all day. I would do the same thing, right? It's just there's so many people that it's all spread out a little bit more, and people can pick and choose their times, right? Unless you're like Mitch, who throws 5 shifts, right? So. Because Mitchell's tab is perfect, right? So, but
Tim, does it ever like affect like staffing costs? Like, I mean, big events like that, you're probably 100% prepared for like the staffing costs, and few people, 10 people sway either way. It's probably not affecting,
Correct.
affecting you too much, but I guess it's the bigger withdrawal
The
Yeah.
headache.
that would be hard, right?
It's just you want to make sure everybody has a chance to play. I think that,
Yeah.
and the shifts they want, right? I mean, you're right, Trace. Like I never thought about it that way. But I don't think we would change it any different unless it was a drastic change, right? But if you're looking at 10 people, or like sometimes, like for example, 64s are cut entry number in for Saturday morning, and we've had 56 or whatever, and we've had a full wait list. That's 8 people that could possibly be playing another shift, right? And somebody like, for example, like Brad Wilton, Brad and Kelsey do opposite shifts, right? So that changes the whole dynamic. If Brad or Kelsey can't get that second shift in, they're not going to play
Right.
because the other one has to take care of the kid, right? So then you have to pick who do you think's better, and usually Brad plays another shift, even though Kelsey's better, right? But it's it's kind of the whole people have to pick and choose on things, right? So
Right, and the bigger maybe thing is like when things fill up so quickly, you're right, maybe somebody from out of town or out of province might have traveled, but because they couldn't get it, they just like, okay, I'm not gonna travel, I'm not gonna do it because it's already full, and they sort of lost their window.
Right.
So
Yeah.
that's a bigger
Absolutely.
picture too, like they might have been able to join.
As the tour and all these events, even the club tour and stuff like that, like Nevs is a prime example. They moved to a cashless system for their entries, right? As these things move to a cashless system, do you foresee an issue with maybe the TPC saying, okay, you have to prepay for your first shift because you know you're going to play one shift and whatever that your primary shift is, and then you have to put a deposit if you're signing up for more than one shift just to save those spots, and then you have like maybe it's a 2-hour deadline before the shift starts that you have to accept the deposit or release it, right? I think there needs to be, as these tournaments keep growing, and maybe they started stagnating, like some of these tournaments are filling up all the time, but I can't see them growing much more. I think we got to move to a system where people know what's going on. I'm prepaid. I'm signed up for these shifts. I'm protected, right? I don't have to worry about what could possibly happen, like Tim's saying, like having a huge wait list because these people are just signing up for 3 shifts and not really having any intention of playing 3 shifts. They're just protecting their chance at playing.
Yeah.
and that's fair. That's totally fair. Yeah. I think maybe that's something like I know Calgary's are going to have their stuff open before our tour meeting, but this is something we can probably come up with, right? Now, is that going to put more onus on Blair because he can deal with the? We might have to get because we do the TPC through the Sure Bowl prize account, so it's a separate entity. But maybe that's a different thing altogether. Maybe we just have to open up our own, right, and go from there.
Yeah, well, like my thought is, and I'm not speaking on behalf of WCBT or 5-Pin Universe. I'm just what I've seen like through the golf tours and the disc golf tours is they actually have a one-stop shop. So I'm going to sign up for all 5 tournaments. I put my whatever that would cost, $1,100. I put my money into that deposit account, and whoever that third party, if it's the WCBT or another entity, holds that money and then releases it to each tournament as the tournament is played. Right.
Mhm.
So
I'd be okay with that. Yeah.
you essentially prepay for the stops that you're going to play. I know the season is very long and some people might not be able to make a tour stop for some reason, medical reasons, work reasons, all that stuff, but it's getting to the point that there's enough touring players that an option like that would probably be really good for them. And then you have the people that go to 2 or 3 stops that could still show up and pay their money on site or whatever. But I think a touring system would be a good idea.
Yeah. So Derek, your answer is we already do that. It's just you can sign up for your 2 shifts, and then if you play your first shift and you want to sign up for another one, you can sign up for another one if it's available. So it is sort of like that. Now, let's be honest. The Thursday shift is people like to they know how to work around the system on it. You can sign up for your Friday and Saturday and show up on Thursday, and it's perfectly okay, right? So it. I mean, because Thursday's usually open. I don't think there's maybe at Regina this year was the
I was
first
gonna say,
time.
didn't that almost not work out for a few people in Regina this past year?
Well, just a missed flight here and there too to help everybody else out. But
but that is a good option for them, right? If they know they're going to be playing Saturday, no matter what, or Friday morning, they just show up early Thursday. If there's a spot, take it. You're already. The only issue I can see is you shouldn't be able to transfer if you're prepaying. Like, I'm prepaying Friday morning because I know I'm going to play that shift. I'm going to show up Thursday just in case. Unfortunately, you can't get that Friday money back, but maybe you can sell that spot to another bowler. Right? The tournament is hands off now. That spot is paid for.
Yeah.
You don't get that money back, but you can try and sell it to somebody else, maybe for
give them $10
price
or something.
I'll be honest with you. If somebody was kicking around and I knew like Kerry couldn't make it, there's the 48 spots still there to play Friday morning, and Tracy comes up and she's just kicking around because Curtis is throwing another shift like normal, and Tracy wanted to play. I'd be like, Tracy, just give me your $200. I'll give it to Kerry, and then we'll worry about it, right? Like I would help facilitate that if that was the issue,
right?
But if Saturday morning showed up and 8 people foobarred, well, it's not my problem. Right?
No.
It's really not my problem. But thanks for your sponsor.
If it's, on the wall. If it's paid,
yeah.
Tough break. That's your decision. That's not the tournament's problem.
No.
Yeah.
No. Look at us solving all world's problems right now, eh? And we only have 34 minutes left.
None of this is going to get implemented. We just like talking about it.
Well, no, I mean we could.
That's
I mean,
why
we
it's
do have
debate nice.
We do have a tour meeting. For any tour people that want to come, it's right after the tour finals, and I think it was August 13th.
Yeah.
August 13th, yeah. That's Sherwood
Sunday
Bowl,
morning,
so.
9:30 at Sherwood Bowl.
Yeah. So.
Well, should we pull up the wheel?
Yeah.
Oh, the wheel. I made it pretty this time.
We're already a third of the way through, Tracy. Yeah, I don't think we're going to hit the 60-minute mark.
No, I don't think so either.
We're just a bunch of master debaters, that's all.
July podcast.
Oh boy. All right, so we've got a good mix. Some topics will be like a hefty debate, and other ones will be a quick little joke at someone's expense. Probably Tim's.
All right.
We can only hope it's Tim.
New tournaments.
It was almost Carrie.
I can tell you how old Kerry is. That's easy. Yeah.
Yeah, fair. So new tournaments. Obviously, we got the Beef Bowl and a tournament up in Dawson Creek at Hypertension.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't know if they released like a tournament name for it, but
It's
Beef
sponsored,
Bowl. Yeah. Beef Bowl is September 8th, 9th, and 10th in Medicine Hat at Panorama Lanes. And that's just like a traditional tour format. Is it like top 32? I haven't read up. I'm ill-informed.
Just give me 1 second here. I'm pulling up their Facebook page to see if they've released any tournament details.
Yeah, it's just a normal.
I'm signed up. I don't know what I'm bowling, but I'm signed up.
And Dawson Creek, I think it's just a singles event, if I remember correctly.
Yes.
But I mean, I can't thank them enough. They're doing TPC entries with it.
That's
their
awesome.
idea. So I think that's great. And those guys up there really kind of got the bug up there. So
And that is
been great.
September 22nd, 23rd, 24th.
Yeah.
Yes, we got a tournament at the beginning of September, the end of September, and then the beginning of October.
Oh, Jesus Christ. And then you have Masters in there. You got TPC.
We got Alberta Masters.
And then Manitoba Open.
Yeah. Fun.
It's just
And
becoming a
throw in
full
a little
schedule.
pro league.
Yeah.
Pro League every
League.
Oh, yeah, Pro League. Jesus. That's another topic. Yeah.
I'm so glad I'm isolated from all this and I can just focus on WCBT and that's it.
It's a lot of bowling. It's so much bowling.
It's a lot, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, it's become.
I'm not gonna lie, these last like 3 weeks after Masters have actually been really nice to not touch a bowling ball.
But I mean, you guys are playing. You think about it, you guys could be possibly playing. If you go up to Dawson Creek, you're playing 3 events in a month,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, I know, or 4 events in 5 weeks because of the tour finals.
And
Right?
Nebs.
And Nebs.
That's what I'm saying. Like Nebs, you have tour finals, you have Dawson Creek, and then you have,
People.
yeah.
It's busy.
Does BC still have like their September event?
No,
So
not this year.
they had one, and then whatever happened, it was in Abbotsford, and then they moved it, and they've reduced the price. But I know last year they had one. Kara and Curtis actually were at that event.
Mm-hmm.
It was a
Anthony
Triple
went
Crown.
out there.
Yeah, the Triple
Yeah.
Crown. Yeah.
I have not heard any of it.
Mm-hmm.
No,
This
I
year.
haven't seen anything.
No,
No
I haven't
posts.
It's too bad. I mean, I've supported all of the ones except for the last one out there, and it's just, I don't know. I can't tell you what the issue is. And then the thing with Dell basically gave it to him for free, I think. So it wasn't like a lack of like prize money there either, right?
Yeah,
I figured
last
'cause
post
Derek
was
Orn moved
last
there.
year.
Derek Orn moved there, and they just canceled all the bowling tournaments. So that's it. No more bowling in British Columbia.
Do you blame him?
Yeah,
Broken golf clubs all over the
Oh.
BC
yeah.
courses, and
He just like sprinkled the pieces of golf club as he drove across the country. Left a little here, left a little there.
He must have some kind of deal with these club companies because I can't believe breaking all mine. Yeah.
My deal is take them out of the lost and found. Pull up
I mean,
new clubs.
I think Dexter lost a 4-iron once. Right, Kerry? What was it? A 4-iron?
It was I think 5-iron. I think
5-iron,
over
he
the side
lost.
of the hill.
Yeah.
It went
He might
into a thistle bush that nobody was going to go get.
Was he actually? Yeah, he was a little bit inebriated.
He wasn't smashed, but he was a few beers in, just like me and Adam were, and yeah, his club went over the side for some reason.
It happens.
Yeah.
Okay.
I also remembered that there's this 20 gamer at Village Lanes in BC on Saturday, August 26th.
At Kaylin's house.
Yeah.
Yes. They just had another event there. I mean, they do really well for an 8-lane center out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Did anybody go? Doesn't Vegreville have like a bowl spiel around this time of year, or is that?
No. They have one in October or November, and then they have one in February, I think, and then one in April.
Man,
There's a lot of bowling tournaments now, which is kind of good, I guess. But there's also
Is
the
it?
problem where, oversaturation of the market could. Gary's face is
yeah, like I obviously can't play everything, but I think it's good to have all those little tournaments too, because you get those players that maybe they couldn't make the Autumn Open or they couldn't go to these other tournaments. They at least have something to go play at, right? Sure enough, your touring players probably won't make a lot of those smaller tournaments, but there's going to be people there.
Yeah,
the thing, like, honestly, like the Stettlers, the Vegravilles, the Dawson Creek hosting this thing up here, right? They need those events, right? Because they got to have something going on up there, right? I just can't physically be in all these spots at once anymore. It's just life is just way too busy, right? So, I mean, I would love to be at the Beef Bowl, but we already have other commitments, and I would love to support Karen and Curtis, but I can't. Like there's so many great events out there. I want to point out to go to Manitoba Open. It's just there's just a lot of things going on, right? So it's got to win the lottery.
Absolutely.
I think. That's I think.
if you win the lottery and your first thing is to go to Winnipeg, you're not using your lottery winnings correctly.
Ryan, if you know something and you know how much I love Winnipeg, I tell our viewers all the time. I guarantee you that won't be the first thing I buy.
Kerry and Ty were there this year. They saw it all go down. So
I've been to the Manitoba Open every time. I love it.
And my family's originally from Manitoba, so I've spent almost every summer since I was like 4 in Winnipeg.
Oh wow, I had no idea, bud.
Yeah.
Oh.
Sorry.
and he's
Yeah,
sorry to hear.
Yeah. Ow.
And I'm still alive.
Yeah, you did it.
That explains Brad's goatee and his haircut then.
Well, I don't know
And
why
Ty's
Derek likes
haircut.
that place. Derek busy breaking pins in half and winning tournaments.
Growing
So.
on me, Carrie. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
lie.
You like it? Like the
Oh, here,
buzz?
My
here comes the dumping on Winnipeg again. No, I didn't get there just yet. Not yet.
my coworker did call me Slim Shady the other day when I walked into work, and that was real close.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. The Masters Nationals are in Winnipeg. Maybe they don't play. All right. But anyways,
Tim
is there
can't
enough?
make that team.
He
No,
made it
not
last
anymore.
time. He made it last time.
That was
Yeah.
in Winnipeg?
Yep.
Oh.
Yeah, that was my rookie year. That's the year I had a little nappy poo on Diane. But let's just maybe pull up the wheel. Let's pull up the wheel.
Especially
Good
when you
segue,
call
Tim.
it nappy poo.
Yeah, I might have used her shoulder for a little 5-minute siesta.
All right.
In a dress. Yeah.
Come on, Tim related.
I was loving that side of the wheel.
Oh.
We'll make this just a quick one. We'll leave the wheel up.
Okay, can I
Put it in the
be
background.
offended for Tracy and I with that category, please? Can I be offended for us both?
Why?
Well,
Tracy
I
looks
heard
young.
Tracy's 29.
Yeah.
Well, is Carrie old could really set me and Tracy off here since we are both older than Carrie. So
Well, old compared to who, Ty? Where's the question coming from?
This is what happens when you leave me in charge of the wheel. I can write whatever I want.
There wasn't much feedback, I suppose, right? When you created the wheel. I didn't
have
see
to
much
fill the time.
input.
Exactly.
the only thing that makes me feel better about this is Tim looks older than the other four of us. So that's
I'm
fair.
definitely not 29 times 2 yet,
Perfect.
but it's close.
Okay,
I just turned 23 times 2 last week. So
but what we really got to think is, okay, Carrie. How was Carrie look like this now, and when he takes off his hat? How, like, what's the difference?
Ooh.
Oh, I like that.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So okay, everybody, what does he look like right now?
Oh,
All right, and then Carrie, take off your
I
hat.
don't have to worry about Tim's problems. At least I still have lots of lettuce.
I have
Yeah,
more
dude.
than Carrie does. I have more than Carrie does.
just because you let it grow long doesn't mean you have more.
I comb over.
You come over.
I don't want
Everyone's got to be
be
jealous.
Tim
Like
embraced the
Curtis's
razor.
hair.
Yeah.
Curtis had the best post-COVID flow.
No, he did not.
Yes, I loved his hair.
You loved
we-
his hair.
I told Cindy I was so upset when he cut it. I didn't want to look at him. Yeah.
See, look, the fish knows I'm still young. Still young, Ty.
Yeah. But
Young
yeah,
at heart.
But Curtis didn't he didn't take care of it though. He just let it grow, didn't he?
He just let it grow. Yeah, for like 2 years.
Nice. Then he went and toured with Motley Crue.
Washed it maybe once a week.
Oh,
We're lucky
Oh,
we got
shit.
through that stage.
he's still there.
Yeah, he's still here.
Yeah.
Carrie, do you want to put my wheel back on and we can move along from the age discussion?
Yeah.
Yay.
Hit a few strings there.
Yeah, I don't know how it went on to Curtis, but that's okay.
A good one.
Oh,
Was your favorite 2022 or 2023 memory, bowling or not? Tracy, you're always so full of great sentimental moments.
That's hard. 2023 favorite moment. I mean, I've had a lot of not favorite moments with my dog Mookie.
the candles.
Like eating a full candle. What was that? What tournament was that, Tim? That was
Autumn
like
Open. Autumn Open. Yeah.
She,
Oh,
she
it
ate
just started.
she ate a whole white candle and we didn't take her to the vet, and then she pooped out that candle, and it was literally white candle that came out of her.
It's your
Um,
favorite memory of the year?
This is
Not
not like
favorite,
I said it
not
was my
favorite.
not favorite
Oh,
moment.
okay.
Another not favorite moment with my dog Mookie was after Kaylin's graduation from university. We came home and she had punctured a full aerosol can and it was toxic. And so
Masters
that
National
wrecked
or
all our evening
Nations.
plans because we didn't know if my dog Mookie got poisoned or not. That's just amongst a few things that my dog Mookie has gotten
And after all of
into.
this, you name your
Uh.
fantasy baseball team My Dog Mookie.
Yes, I did. Yes, I love her, but she is a problem. And yeah, favorite moment. Personally, my favorite moment would have been CJ walking the stage, graduating with honors at the university. That's probably my
Oh.
favorite moment of the year
It's
so
awesome.
far. It's not done, but that was a big moment for our family for sure.
That's really sweet.
C was sentimental. Could
Yeah,
not,
I knew
not
it.
go there. Yeah. Yeah.
What's highlights of life out in Thompson?
Tracy beating
still
Ryan
alive.
last weekend on fantasy
That's
baseball.
positive. I really enjoyed getting to see Nick get inducted into the Hall of Fame. That was a big deal for him and a big deal for me to see it because he'll probably be the only person from northern Manitoba to ever be inducted into the Hall of Fame. So it was cool. And my kid bought a house 2 weeks ago in Winnipeg, of all places. But that's kind of neat too. I'm proud of her. She's only 20, so
That's amazing.
Oh my God, good for her.
yeah. It's she bought it in kind of not a great area, but she did her due diligence and she got a decent price on it. So it's awesome.
Yeah.
Good for her.
Ryan, do you want to tell us where you
Oh.
where that
Okay, I know where it came from now.
was it from the gas station?
No. So I came home. My wife and I walked the dogs yesterday morning, and come home. We checked the mailbox, and there's a $20 U.S. bill in there. I'm like, what? Why? So I posted on Facebook, LOL, who put $20 U.S. in my mailbox? So Rachel watched our friend's dogs down the street a few weeks ago, and they tried to get her 20 euros because she's going to Italy on Monday. And they couldn't get euros, so they got her a $20 U.S. bill and just put it in the mailbox because she won't accept their money, so they just dropped it off. So that is the story.
Interesting story.
Our Wetaskiwin resident.
I like where Ryan was going with the Hall of Fame thing, inducting Gino into giving Gino his Hall of Fame trophy. That was probably a highlight. Obviously, going to the Rock for Nationals with Ty was a pretty fun time, but we didn't play so well, so it got knocked down the list a little bit.
But we rode cannons real well.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we got in a couple of cannons at Signal Hill.
I was gonna say, take it out of context, that could sound forward, but
that's why I explained it because
Yeah.
we know that was going.
I wasn't going to. Just let it sit. Let it simmer.
yeah.
Tim, what about you?
I've been trying to think about it. Obviously being a part of Tom and being a part of a good committee for Open Nationals was a highlight. I won green and gold and all that. That was nice, but I don't know. I always look back at the season and I always watch in sports. I always watch the pinnacle achievement when it happens, right? So I for example, I just look back at the events and I enjoy those one moment at each event that I really enjoy. Like, you look back and you see, Ryland having to come back and beat Matt Phillips the way he did in the 10th frame, right? You need to win the championship, right? Seeing Brad Moens cry when his two kids run after him after he wins the championship in TPC, right? Like Derek Holm when he finally coming back and winning his championship after such a long layoff. Obviously, Mitch running both sides. There's parts of each championship I really enjoy, but I enjoy when everything kind of ends and you can see people's reaction after all that hard work. Those are the moments I always look back at because you can never fake it and you can never relive it, right? And I think that's the coolest part about our sport. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's sweet.
Ty, what about you?
Ooh, what about me? I'm going to go back just before the bowling season of 2022-23 started. My sister got married. That was probably my favorite. I'm not a very emotional person, or at least I don't like show my emotions, and I blubbered like a baby at my speech during her wedding, and it just it was really sweet. And then the Open this year, like Open Provincials, being my first Open that was not really kind of like haunted by COVID, and we were actually like staying at a hotel. So like that for Open Provincials was like a really fun, not rookie first time scenario. So it was cool to like kind of just be social with everyone
Yeah.
in that setting.
What about Brad shaving his goatee finally? That must have been a monumental feat for everybody here, eh?
Well, as Carrie mentioned, we had played so well, so I may have already been drinking, and I didn't actually notice that he shaved his face until someone told me.
I don't know what it is with Alberta Mint, because I mean, Brad shaved his face, Dexter shaved his beard in Quebec, right? That big honking beard, and he came into the
Remember
room, and he had patches there, and then he just went straight to bed, and we got on an early flight, and that's how he had to go through the whole day. I don't know what it is with Alberta Mint, but yeah, it's fun. It's fun. Yeah.
Just wait till Winnipeg.
No, I
He's
don't.
growing facial hair next, but
I didn't do well in Winnipeg last time. This time would be better, I swear.
Are you guys coming to Winnipeg this year?
Yeah, if we make it. Yeah.
No, I meant like for WCBT. Gary is shaking his head yes. I got a
Yes.
shoulder shrug. Tim is just staring off into space, which is just Tim being Tim.
50-50. Maybe less than 50-50. We'll see. It's around Christmas time, right? So it's real tough that way
It's
for us.
3
It's
weeks
like November
before Christmas time.
30th, and like I think
If I went a tour stop, then maybe.
so you're not coming then.
Maybe.
all right, let's spin her again.
We only have 13 minutes left.
A little bit of technique discussion. Hook, back up, or neither? What's the best?
What's the best?
Carrie, you can answer. you play both. That's not fair.
I played
think
hook for like
backup.
half a season once. I didn't like it, so I played backup.
Yeah.
Why
I can
not?
only twist. I can only
It
twist my
just
wrist.
felt
so
weird
much.
coming out of my hand. It was effective at times, throwing it like this as opposed to like this, but it just felt odd. So I just went back to what I've always done.
I think you've like seen people win either way. So I'm probably a neither person. I think it's a in the moment kind of thing. I think there are great players who throw both ways,
Mm-hmm.
who are
What's
very
your
successful.
preference, Trace?
Always
I mean,
Switzerland.
I know. I in my younger days I threw a backup, but as I've aged, everything changes, and now I throw more of a hook ball. So I don't know why that is, but I don't know. I just think at any given moment in any given day when people are like playing at their best, sometimes their strike zone is just bigger than it might be the week before.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah, I'm with Kathy. Whatever works.
Ty, you must be right. I must be getting old because I also used to play backup and now I'm throwing hook, so makes sense.
Yeah.
It's age, Carrie. I'm sorry to tell you.
It's okay. It's won me more, so
Yeah, there you
no
go.
complaint.
I also am with Kathy. I wait until I get to the foul line, and then
Just
whatever happens.
see which way it rotates
Yeah.
out of your hand.
Yeah.
just yeah, you just get the ball out, Ty. That's all you need.
Fingers.
Figures.
It was funny. Me and Ty were talking about this at Masters Nationals, or actually practicing before Masters Nationals. And that's when I was younger, like in my 20s. That was how I played too. It was at the foul line. It was a decision wherever your hand was at. If you're trying to throw a little bit of a backup or a hook, it just depended where your timing was at and stuff. And it worked all right, but now there's no way I could do that now. Not a chance.
I think it's funny too because you could have like a really slow ball that gets like really crazy pinfall reaction, and then a really hard ball which you think should like go, you know, that hard chucker and it should go, and then it doesn't
Yeah.
go, and it's just like, oh my god, like
My
hard.
my favorite hook ball watching I used to love watching was Brad Anderson.
Mm.
Brad was I know Ryan doesn't know who Brad is, but Brad was a gentleman out of Edmonton, and he was a great player, right? But he just had this slow, easy ball that, and he just worked it, and he was so good at that.
So if Brad Anderson was your hook player, was Ken Norris your backup player?
I liked watching Ken.
Ken was
really,
unreal backup, slow
and
rotation.
he knew exactly what board, right?
Yeah,
Bowling's a
insane.
lot different. People don't look at boards anymore. They don't know, like, they don't read the lanes like they used to. Just like, it's a power game now. It's a lot more power.
Well, they're all synthetic lanes. They all shouldn't matter about ricocheting off a board.
No, but I'm saying, like, wood lanes used to dry out, or they used to be able to move differently than synthetics do, right?
Yeah.
But as soon as they went to synthetic, it's a power game now. Like, you don't. I mean, other than maybe Dwayne out there, you don't see a lot of guys who try to read the lanes and do that. Like, you have Derek Horn, who throws a million miles an hour with a lot of junk, right? These guys it's a lot different than it used to be, right? But Ken Norris was a great one. I mean, Tom used to be slow thrower, right? I mean, I love watching that because it was a rolly ball. It was a lot different game back then. Yeah.
So I must not be that old because everybody's been telling me my whole career it's a power game. So
Yeah. I just can't believe his backup. I mean, I think the smoothest backup I ever saw was Bruce, right? Right? And then, but Bruce was one, he lay it down, he throw it out, he just, whatever happened at the
Bruce
line.
could get
worked.
it out on the lane. It wasn't always a lay down, right? That's where I was like, Ken Norris, it was always the same shot. He didn't throw the ball out any farther or anything like that.
Yeah.
I think he was probably the smoothest backup player. Bruce was definitely smooth when he was laying it down, though. Like, you wouldn't hear the ball. It's like watching Ty play. You don't hear the ball hit the lane.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Wow. So sweet. So kind. Thank you. On my ego.
Somebody has to.
Just some time to beat you at tour finals.
Ooh.
Not released yet. Not released yet.
No?
Hey, we need
Oh.
to see who's playing who so we can do not illegal backroom gambling on it.
That's
The
true.
5-pin universe. Training for bowling. Yes, no, or what does this even mean? Again, this was a Tyler entry because I was left in charge of the wheel. And if people do not know, I'm a kinesiologist. I teach people exercise for a living. So I guess question to the crowd, first of all, is, are you training for bowling?
Like training, like bowling, or
Physically.
actually
Are you physically training your body for bowling?
yeah.
Here's how I physically train for bowling.
Sure.
90 calories.
90 calories.
My
Coors
body's in
Light's
probably,
108.
my body's in with last year that helps. So I mean, that's not changed. But bowling wise, I think I might throw a ball after August long. And start ramping up and throw some games, you know.
So
Tyler,
by training,
yeah, like,
go ahead.
sorry, Carrie, I think you're gonna ask the same question, but like, do you mean like physically training your body for bowling?
Mhm.
And
I do,
not-
right? So
Yeah,
if we're talking about bowling and we want it to be a sport and we want to
yeah.
produce it as this professional entity, professional athletes train. Professional baseball players, I guarantee you, darts people are training in some way.
Mhm.
Is that something we need to look at for bowling?
I mean,
Putting together.
I've never done it. I've trained to take care of like my well-being just because I want to train, like, but I've
Yeah.
never thought about it as a physical thing to be better in the sport. I think the training for me was more get out in the lanes and like work through like the technical pieces that you wanted to improve on, or like your mental game. But yeah, that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So like I work out just to, like Tracy was saying, to maintain health. It wasn't for bowling forward. It was just for physical health. In what, I guess for the power throwers, like I guess you could do like resistance training and stuff like that. It would help probably keep your muscles more active or whatever like that. But I don't. What training would you think in bowling would do squats? Maybe like what training regimen is Ty coming out with and is going to be charging to keep your bowling form in shape?
Well, without.
Sorry, I say the nice thing about 5-pin bowling is you don't, have to be a physical specimen to be successful at it. It accommodates all ages, shapes, sizes.
I think flexibility would be something if somebody was looking to try to get into more flexibility, right? Because you're stretching, you're moving your body, like your body's moving different ways you don't normally do it, right? Yeah, I just think it's that. Yeah.
Karen's comment here.
KFA is doing some training to get her body up and rocking and rolling, and it's helping her average.
It's
awesome,
interesting
Karen.
to understand, like, did she do that specifically for bowling? Like, obviously she's reaped the rewards because she started working out. And I know Karen and I are actually the same age, but like I've noticed the thing on flexibility, but then think about how long you guys are standing. Oh, that's good. Yeah, and so she saw the improvement in it. Think about how long you guys are standing on concrete floors, like when you go to a national event, and then how tired your legs or your feet are, and could you avoid that if you were training physically for that type of thing? Because that's awful, those long events, or if you're throwing 30 games in an open final day or whatever, how like what your body feels like once you finally decide, okay, it's over, and you wake up the next day. Yeah, it's
pretty stiff.
No, definitely. You guys touched all on like great points without giving out like an actual training program. There's kind of two sides to it, at least that I use in like my personal life, because I do train for bowling, especially during like peak bowling season. There is training for like mental wellness and like well-being all around. Like you need to stay active and moving outside of the bowling world, right? Like you need to be doing some kind of movement to keep your body sane. But then if we look at like what's happened in our sport over the last 10 years even, we've gone from 4 major tournaments and 2 nationals in the season to 5 on the WCBT alone, plus club tour, plus anything that's happening. Like now we have the Quebec Classic, all the Newfoundland Bowling Tour events. You have 2 nationals, and now we're playing Pro League. You have these many more events, and the events that we're doing are marathon events. You are at that bowling alley all weekend long, repeating the exact same movement hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of times. The human body is not meant to do that. It is not built to do that. So you have to train that, right? And it does look like squats and lunges and wrist curls and flexibility and joint mobility. And Karen's right, like as we get older, right, it's not that we've done anything wrong, but biologically and physiologically, we just don't produce the same things from our cells anymore. And the only way to counteract that is by moving and training specifically for bowling, especially when we're putting such a high demand on our bodies that we are. It doesn't look like, a sprinter who's doing the hardest 100-meter sprint or a weightlifter who's lifting 600 pounds. That's not what we're asking our bodies to do. We're asking our body to do endurance-based events, and that's how we need to train.
Yeah.
I think now, maybe this is another topic, but I think endurance-based events like you're talking about, Ty, it's completely, obviously physical is a big thing. I think keeping yourself mentally involved all those days is a huge thing. I think that's why you might see somebody who's not in peak physical condition be able to handle the time and everything because they know how to manage their energy levels and manage their thoughts. I think it just, like Adam's, if you ask Adam to run a marathon, it's not happening. But if you ask him to bowl all day, he can make it work, right? Yeah.
And that's where Ryan is right. Like bowling is accommodating because we talk about peak physical condition or athletic build, and that's kind of a myth, when we talk about like fitness and body anthropometrics. There's no such thing as a perfect body, right? What we need to be able to do
hello.
is make our body adapt to our demands,
You're
which
right,
is
yeah.
why you see bowlers come in every shape and size, and they're all successful is because they've gotten their body to adapt instead of adapting their body to their demands.
Right.
I like it.
All right, well-
Do you think with all these new tournaments popping up and the tour becoming what it is, it's not somebody's job yet, but let's say a decade from now, if things continue to progress the way they've been progressing the last 7 years, do you see that all of a sudden now it becomes, okay, yeah, I'm going to be training 2 or 3 days a week in order to perform on the weekend, because every weekend there's going to be an event. I have to be ready. This is how I'm going to be making my living. This is, or at least be a supplemental living, right? Maybe it's not career oriented, but it might not be a bad path if it keeps growing the way it is. I'm not saying it's projecting to be an every day or every weekend sporting event. I don't think that's in our lifetimes, but
Please no.
man, hey, if we can keep you from the underground, Ryan, and you could bowl for a living for the next 7 years, would you not take it?
Probably. I mean, it's bowling.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
bowling. That's why I drive all this way to all these events. It's fun.
Ryan, in 15 years, Ryan's gonna be playing out of Central Alberta. So,
8.5, buddy. 8.5.
oh really?
Yeah, I need 8.5 years. I can retire.
There you go. See,
I won't be a senior yet, so I'll still be playing.
Yeah. Go Central.
Yeah, I mean, I think you're asking, like, is it something that we need to hire a trainer for? Is that what you're asking, Carrie? Or like,
yeah, like, do you feel that maybe not hiring a trainer, but at least going to the gym and maybe having a personal trainer there and being like, hey, that's the bowling guy. I know I need to work on this stuff with him while he's here for the 2 or 3 hours, or the lady that's there, however that works. I don't think anybody's ever going to get a personal trainer to come to their home and work out with them, but I don't know if it's so far-fetched that you wouldn't have that possibility where people are going to the gym 2 or 3 times a week specifically for that type of training.
absolutely. I mean, like, my little plug again to like my career, and I'm a certified personal trainer, is if you're a good personal trainer, you talk to your client and you ask them what their goals are, and you make their training program for their goals. So if you come to your personal trainer and you say, look, I'm a competitive bowler, I'm competing once a month, once every 2 weeks, where I need to be performing a unilateral or like a one-sided lunge 80 times in a 6-hour time frame, they're going to help you get to that. And so it's not unreasonable to have, even tomorrow, if someone wants to make a change in their life and go out tomorrow and get a personal trainer, and if their goal is, I want to be better fit for bowling, if you get a good personal trainer, they're going to do that. They're going to talk to you and they're going to say, okay, this is what bowling, these are the needs analysis, this is the training demand, or the task demand. Here's what we're going to do in the gym to match that. So,
I like that, Jordan.
also, physiotherapists will do the same thing.
I wonder if there would be some way to do like almost like a generic video that would target, like a YouTube video that bowlers could look at and be like, target specific exercises to help them with their bowling and their fitness in terms for bowling, right? Like someone like you that's in the field could maybe develop a video, or like, everyone's different, but you could develop kind of like a broad, these are the things you should work on to have better endurance or whatever for your game, right?
Hey, Ryan, stop giving away future business plans for 5 Pin Universe.
yeah. I can teach a yoga class again. Yeah.
7-minute abs.
Yogurt class?
Yoga class, yeah. Okay, we're already 4 minutes over. Let's see what else we can get into.
4 minutes?
Well, Tracy said we'd be done by 8, yeah.
Oh, we're still going? Oh God!
Yeah, let's do one. Let's do one more before we shut this down.
Oh, one more. Okay, everybody, hope for something good.
Well, if it's not good, we'll do another one.
Big bucks, no whammies.
Oh, here we go. Steve Barker will be happy.
Pals.
Alrighty, here we go.
I don't know if
first
I
of
have an
all,
answer for this.
yeah.
Yeah.
Does anybody know the reason why it became minus 15 for a foul instead of a dead ball that 10 pin had already had instituted?
No idea.
It's a loophole.
I'm not that old.
I feel like Tim, as a 5-pin representative, might have had some information on this, but no,
No, I just know it's a loophole
a loophole.
because a dead ball doesn't count as a zero, right?
What do you mean?
Like when you sorry, a dead ball will give you a 0 minus 15. Yeah.
Yeah.
And people don't know in 10 pin if you foul, the deck actually goes up. It automatically knows that, like the ones I've been at when I fouled, the deck actually the pins moved up. And every
Yeah,
time it
but
was, you know,
all it means is like if you foul, it's a 0 count, and you get to throw at the full rack again.
yeah.
So instead of penalizing the player by taking points away, it just gives you a 0 count, and then you lose that ball.
Yeah.
I don't know.
There you
Because I think
There we
like if
go.
we to stop people from fouling on splits and head pins.
So what you're saying, Kathy, is if they know they're punching and they're still in their delivery, they intentionally foul in order to get the full rack back and take a 0.
Yeah, I could see that as a strategic move.
That makes so much sense. I would
really
do
does,
it every
yeah,
time.
Thanks, Kathy. That's a good way to put that into perspective. Yeah.
You're right, Greg. It is a loophole, right? I mean, really, because you know you get away with it. Yeah.
Wow.
So duck pin, it's a dead ball, and that ball becomes the next ball. So if they still deliver it, Jeff, they get the count as their second shot. Is that what that means? If you foul on a spare, you end up getting 10 instead.
Oh, so
Right.
the spare-
So he's saying that ball you deliver is actually your next shot, even though that you fouled. You just get a 0, and then you lose your next ball, but it still counts what you threw on that one.
Okay.
I like
Right.
that.
So if you fouled on the first ball, but you took 5, you get 5.
On your second ball.
Yeah, and then you don't
And then
get
you have to
the
throw
second
your third ball. Yeah.
one. Right.
I like
Interesting.
that better than getting a 0 count and then having to throw
also-
the next ball again.
For this comment, I know that not all the time, but a good 70% of the time, I know the minute that ball leaves my hand, it's a head pin,
And
Yeah.
and I have until the shield comes down to step on the line.
yeah, because then now it becomes a judgment call, right? Somebody would actually physically have to be watching you to make sure it was part of your delivery, not an afterthought, right? So now you're adding so much human error into the situation. So it has to be a clear-cut rule.
Yeah, I mean, realistically, though, I mean, how many times it happens? You turn around and you hit the foul line with your heel, right? I mean, somebody turns around. Oh, I casually do that. Oops, right? You
Right.
can't-
But that's not part of your delivery, right? So to me, that wouldn't count as a foul.
No.
I could have used a dead ball in Winnipeg.
Yeah, you could have.
They wouldn't help.
Isn't that so
But-
true?
Stupid game.
And I think that's kind of that's what Steve was getting into. Like, he left quite a comment on our post, was that like the minus 15 can cost a match that's already been won, right? And now all of a sudden, okay, just because I touched a post or stepped over the line or stuck on something and a match.
Yeah. Oh, it's great. I still think the 15 points, because it's definitive, right? Nobody wants to lose 15 points. It doesn't matter what it is, right? I guess maybe if you're Daryl and you're working on a triple and you know you're punching, is the 15 detriment and then the possibility of a spare better off? 15 pins, I guess. But yeah. That's interesting.
I'm interested because, I mean, think about it. I don't know if you guys know the story, but in 2012, Heidi fouls. I think it was against Manitoba, maybe Karen Armstrong's team in the gold medal match.
Oh wow.
The first one, and she fouls, and then she had to pick up the spare. right? Now she didn't have to pick up the spare, but now she does,
Mm.
right? So I mean, if it was a dead ball, it would be no issue, right? It'd just be a 0,
Right.
right? All of a sudden it changes things, right?
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
I can't see this changing like in our game. I think it's just going to
No.
be minus 15, and that's that.
No.
Yeah, I mean they can't get minus 450. It's going to be minus. It'd be 0. That's the
It'd
lowest
be
you can
0,
go. Yeah, you can't go minus in the game.
If you throw a 450 and you foul on every shot, what would the score be?
0.
No, it wouldn't.
That what would it be?
Well, it's minus 15 every frame.
Oh, you're only throwing one
Except
ball
for
a frame.
frame 10 would be 45.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd be losing what?
It'd be
90.
180 pins, right?
270. I average 270. Make the cut from throwing it 10 feet out. Perfect.
You won't throw a strike from 10 feet out every time. I guarantee that, Tim.
And you still won't make the cut.
No, here's the real debate.
Derek 300. Good try, Derek. No, yeah, it's an interesting thing. I don't know. I'm okay the way it is, to be honest with you, but
It's just
Yeah.
we've been doing it so long. It's just part of the game as it is. And they said what Kathy brought up is a really good point. Like you could, like Tyler said, I know most of the time when I lose my hand, that's going to be a punch. I just slide my foot over the line. Okay, oh, new ball.
our hand.
Yeah.
Like that's dirty.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
No, there's no maximum, Kathy.
Yeah.
I would be like wickedly good if I could spare my head pin. So like this might not be a bad plan for me. I think we should change the rules.
So, but the only thing is, if you take the Jeff Young method, it's a 0 on your first ball, and your punch
Yeah.
still counts, and you're throwing a third ball to clean up for 10 pins.
No, I don't like that. We're gonna go back to the
I
10
like
pin one.
that. If
Who put
there's
this on
going
the
to be
wheel?
a change, I think the Jeff Young method or the deck pin method is clearly the route to go because that's a maximum
Yeah.
penalty.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But the minus 15 is an actual penalty. Like I don't see the reason why you wouldn't want it to be minus 15 because nobody wants minus 15. So that's the penalty. Don't foul, right?
Yeah.
Did Barker give an explanation as to why he would want the change when he posted that?
Did.
He says sometime other. He said it on another podcast as well, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, I remember discussing this before.
At another debate night, I think.
Probably.
Man, he can't let things go, can he? Jesus.
He doesn't like my
Penalty for
answers.
fouls. Yeah, penalty for fouls. Yeah, reason 15 points is severe for young kids with low averages. Plus, why should you lose 15 on a shot that could be worth 2 or after a game is already won?
Okay. So I will say people don't realize in certain events, if you're playing a youth event, and say it's for the Bantams, juniors, like Bantams, Bowl Sources, Pee-wees, they can change the rule of that event. They can not say, hey, the rules are this. They can change it, right? Obviously, for a youth championship, they're not going to change it. But I think that you can do it that way, yeah. Do you not get less 0 for a frame?
I seen Pro Score, Len, and you definitely can have a negative score. I seen Jen Baker start with minus 13, so
Yeah.
it's a thing.
Yeah. Because you can get out of that negative, right? You still have an opportunity to get out of the negative. But anyways, if you're playing like a Pee-wee tournament, obviously, if you don't want to have the foul lines on, just make that a rule. You don't have to make it all official all the time, depending on the event. If it's just there for a good time, let them do whatever they want.
I get what Greg's saying here is if there's only 2 points on the deck, why should you be penalized 15 for a foul? Once again, if there's 30 seconds left on the game in a hockey game and you get a penalty, it's still a 2-minute penalty, but you only have to serve 30 seconds because that's all that's left. I don't know if there's a right rule against it. I just think it's clearly the penalty, and it's always been the penalty. Why? I don't see the advantage to having or making the sport better by making it a dead ball. I just
don't like the way it could be used as a way to cheat. Essentially, I don't want to say cheat, but If it's
Okay,
within the
look.
rules, it's not cheating, but I don't like that.
I
Yeah,
think
there you
wasn't Richie the one who coined gave Katie her shirt? I think Richie was.
The Northern
Was he?
Manitoba shirt.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think Len and Greg are kind of getting at the same point here. Like, should you
Being-
ever be losing points in your game as opposed to just getting nothing? But then I guess we look at it like, is it a penalty or is it, did you like break the rules so that one just didn't count? Or like, not that it doesn't count, but, you know,
Right.
Okay.
how do we look at a foul?
But
I
there's
think-
Should you
games-
be penalized because you're cheating and you're going over the line and you're trying to get closer, or should it just be like a zeroed out throw because you broke the rule that you can't go past the foul line? But I mean, no one in
What
a
happened-
competitive game ever intentionally goes
No.
over the foul
No.
line, right? Whereas like in hockey, like people will hook people or like they
What about-
intentionally make a move that you
What
get
about-
penalized for.
What about curling? What happens when you go past the hog line?
It gets rid of
It's
the
a-
rock.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's I guess no different than dead ball, right? It'd be the same
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Be the same
Um,
thing as dead ball.
I think there's a lot of gamesmanship. If you're talking about 10, I am not really like. There's gamesmanship. Like unless you're going for it, a lot of the times you're going to be 2 or 3 feet backwards. You're going to make sure that you just maybe not give it your all. But if you're in a close match and you're up and your team's winning, you're winning. You're gonna make sure you're behind the foul line.
I think a dead ball gives a lot more different plays to make in order to change the outcome of the game. Where a penalty of 15 is everybody knows that is what it is.
Yeah.
There's not way too many ways to skew that. Like
Yeah.
Ty is saying, you release the ball, you know it's a head pin, and you can do that little extra slide or a step out the foul, and you change the complete outcome of that throw specifically, right? To me, there could be a lot more gamesmanship, like Tim was saying, on that specific shot, and I don't like that.
Yeah.
No.
Now,
What about
Len,
like lane conditions? Like, you
Yeah.
guys just were in Newfoundland and you had some challenging lane conditions like that could
Mhm.
really factor into some serious results or outcomes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and it did. There's a lot of people
Yeah.
laying on the lane.
Hmm.
Um,
I mean, minus the injuries and stuff like that, but like it's like a real conversation.
Yeah, there was a lot of games too that ended up being like, I don't know if we had any that were within 15, but definitely a lot that were like, now you're within 20, now you're within a ball and a half.
So with this specific example, Len, I would say yes. I think, and my belief, it's not just because I'm going by what the rule is, but my belief is yeah, if you foul, yeah, you should lose. Unfortunately, that's the penalty in our game, and I firmly believe that it's a good rule.
Yeah, I agree.
I
with
think
Throw.
that- I think the changes we made to that rule, like losing jewelry over the line or
Yeah.
stuff like that, they've gotten rid of that to take away that
Mhm.
chance. Now it's physically your problem when you cross the line. I think the rule is a lot more solid. Before it was pretty ambiguous. Like if somebody lost a fingernail, was that a foul? Like stuff like that.
Yeah.
that was
Um,
so stupid. Yeah, the finger gate in Newfoundland the one year.
Yeah. Well, in Masters pins, people used to wear Masters pins; they'd fall out and stuff like that. Like, I think the rule is a lot more solid now. It's you physically crossing the line yourself. I think that makes a lot more sense.
Yeah, I think if we're talking about that, like your body crossing, the only like iffy part that I have in that then is like with Ryan touching a pillar on the other side of the foul line. That's not part of his delivery. It wasn't him trying to gain an advantage by being closer. It's a weird setup in a bowling alley. I mean, we kind of have the same thing at Paradise, right? Like you can
Mhm.
flick
Sure,
the
Barb.
pillar.
Sure, Park
Yeah.
89.
Don't tell me that.
Yeah.
That's my next tournament.
But the only reason why I'm okay with it is because if the guy's off balance and he puts his hand out there to hold himself up.
To protect themselves from falling
That's
over
a
the foul
foul.
line. Yeah. But Brian
I
was
guess so.
disgusted with himself and touched the ball.
Well, you're an idiot. That's
You're not wrong.
He found out. He found out.
Dude, I beat myself up over that for a very long drive home the next day. So
Yeah, and for the whole next game when you still had a shot to make the cut because you were
well,
distraught.
I was playing you, yeah, and I was just so in my own head. I shot, yeah, it was whatever.
Where'd you,
Let's not talk about the past.
Where'd you
Yeah.
shoot?
What, my last game?
Yeah.
like
Like a
two
210
and
or something?
change.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it wasn't good. I only needed
Yeah.
a 225 or something, and I would have made it. But nope.
Mhm.
Yeah. Well,
Yep.
good shoulda.
But
Happens.
Matt Harms, you're welcome for getting into the top 16, and now he's part of the Tour Championship. All those points went towards his getting in there, so good for him.
you bet.
He buys me a beer every time I see him now. So
It may work out to your benefit in the long run.
yeah, it's playing the long game. Free beers for life from Matt Harms. I'll take it.
All right.
Yeah. Are we good?
Yeah, I mean,
I'm
we
okay.
could probably talk about Pro League later. I know there's some changes, but I think we'll wait till Daryl gets on maybe for that.
The foul line. I like the spelling. I don't know if that was intentional or not. It does go all the way up to the ceiling, does it not?
Yes, it does.
It does. Yeah. Which is why when you touch a pillar, even though it's not on the ground, that is also a foul.
But he
Oh,
says leave
you-
it the
you-
way it is, and he's right. So
Yeah. You challenged 2002 in old Leduc lanes. They put a piece of tape all the way up to the ceiling because somebody touched the wall. It was ridiculous. My first U challenge ever, I was like, you guys are just silly. Yeah.
Hey, got to be definitive with these rules. That's why we
Yeah.
fix them all the
I
time.
remember that. Yeah.
Yeah. Good podcast. What do we? Oh, we have a special one next week. I can't wait to share that with everybody. Unfortunately, I won't be on it, which sucks. But hopefully, the rest of you will be able to get on. But it's going to be a good one.
yeah, I would tune into that one.
Yeah. Tracy, Ryan, thanks for coming on and
Yeah.
debating some. I think it was
Stuff.
some good discussions.
It
Thanks
was
for having me.
much better than me and Tim. So
The lights
Well-
are going down really quickly in Ryan's room.
yeah, we're sorry. Yeah, we're an hour ahead of you guys. So I should have. This has happened to me before. I just don't turn on the lights. I get much better looking as it gets darker. So
You're-
Start
you're-
really
yeah.
intense. And-
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll leave it there. Thanks again for everybody adding your topics, your comments to it. Hopefully, we touched most of what you guys were talking about. I know some of you don't agree with us, and that's the great part about debate night, and we get to talk about it. Probably seeing you guys in the future again.
Yeah.
All right. We'll talk to you all
Okay.
later. Thanks.
thanks,
Good
guys.
night.